Barbara A. Lehman Stadium at Cooper High School here in New Hope. A spot in the state football playoffs on the line here. It's the Section 5 5A Championship. The Spring Lake Park Panthers taking on the Cooper Hogs. Good evening, I'm Jay Wilcox along with Joe Basil. And Joe, last year Cooper got to this point. They had St. Louis Park here on this field, but a completely different kind of night. That one was in a snowstorm. Great weather for a section final tonight, and that should help them to be able to throw the ball some.
Should help them a lot, especially with their offensive situation. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to tonight, Jay, is the contrasting style of both teams. One is obviously a grinded out, run first team, pound the rock kind of team. The other one a little bit more spread it out and throw it around a little bit.
These teams have had an interesting history with Cooper for a long time just could not beat Spring Lake Park. They weren't alone in that. They were a lot of times their playoff road was ended by these Panthers, but now Cooper's won 3 in a row. I don't want to quite go so far as to say the shoe's on the other foot, but it's definitely more of an even situation now, and Cooper feeling like this is their year and their time to go.
I was talking to one of the assistant coaches at Cooper before the game. He definitely said, this is our time. It's been, 8 or 9 years. They've not won a section championship before, and they're ready to go.
Let's talk about key players to look at in tonight's game, and the running game will be important for both teams, probably even more so for the Panthers, and one of their guys who's really had a good season that will be able to keep moving the chains a little bit, Derek Bergman.
I talked to Coach Stewart last night about Derek, and he's got 2 good backs. Derek's a real slasher and probably has the most yards of the 2. Also uses him on special teams as a return guy.
And for Cooper, a guy that he's not one of the biggest running backs you'll see, but wow, is he impressive. Nasir Borden has just had a great year, and it's really presented them with not just a serviceable running game, but a very potent running game.
We were fortunate to see Borden in the game against Armstrong, and yes, he definitely has got the wiggle and the jump stop and really can do it.
You mentioned the interesting contrast things. I think some of the things, the basics are going to come into play tonight in terms of, do you tackle well? Do you take care of the football well? Because I think it's safe to say by looking at these teams' histories that they are both going to move the ball. They're probably both going to score some. It's just, how many drives you have that end up empty and how many that wind up in the end zone.
And it'll, like most games, Jay, it'll be probably decided by a turnover here, turnover there. And against a team like Spring Lake Park, obviously, you may not see the ball for 7 or 8 minutes, and that can put pressure on your offense as well.
Cooper coach Willie Howard saying it's kind of all hands on deck. Some of his offensive stars are going to be in the game defensively tonight as well. They've got to go for it here in a section championship game as they try to get to state for just the second time in program history. It should be a good one tonight. It's Spring Lake Park and Cooper for the Section 5 5A Championship coming up next.
Hi, Meals on Wheels.
I'm Marco. I'm a college student, and I volunteer as a driver for Meals on Wheels.
I think it's awesome meeting these people. I mean, they're so interesting. They've had so many wonderful experiences in life. Your community helps to raise you up into the person that you become. Meals on Wheels is a great way to give back to that community.
Welcome back here to Cooper as we get set for kickoff in tonight's contest. It's cool out for sure, but dry and not too windy. Let's go down to field level where Allie Alt will join us from the sideline tonight.
Guys, if tonight goes anything like it did in week 3 when these two teams matched up, this is going to be a treat. But what stood out to me most was the fact that Spring Lake Park's quarterback, Zach Dunbar, posted 142 rushing yards in that game. So I asked Coach Howard before this game, what are you going to do to ensure that that doesn't happen again? He told me this. He said, you know, what we have to do is expect to have Dunbar be hit every single play of this game. He said, we know that all night he's not going to be the only one with the ball in his hands. So what this defense did all week was they practiced without a ball. That was to ensure that Dunbar will be hit no matter what at every point that he's on offense tonight. Coach acknowledged that facing the Panthers is one of the biggest challenges of their season, but their expectations are the same as they have been all year. Just go 1-0. So guys, they're prepared for that tonight.
Thank you, Allie. Opening kickoff from Alex Martinez. Looked like for a moment it was going to be about perfect, but it slowly made its way to the sideline and ended up going out of bounds. So Spring Lake Park will start with the football on the 35-yard line as Martinez actually hit that one pretty darn close to what he wanted to do with it, but it just had that little sideways roll. There's a look at Zach Dunbar, the junior quarterback for Spring Lake Park, and you see that's not a misprint. He's only thrown the ball 27 times all year. They're obviously a very run-heavy offense, and that's their game plan, grind out the clock, not give the other team that many opportunities with the football. And Cooper has been working extensively on limiting that option this week. First down handoff, and nothing doing there as they give it to Bergman on the opening play, and he is stopped at the line of scrimmage here for Spring Lake Park. To look at the offense for Spring Lake Park is other good back for them as Brian Oriana, number 20. Those he will carry the ball a lot along with Bergman, and of course, as Ali said, Dunbar very much a run threat as well. Second down and 10, no gain on that first play. Dunbar handing it off. A little bit of movement this time on the left side, but still well defended by Cooper. They get about 5 hats on the ball there after a pickup of 2 or 3 as you get a look at the starters for Cooper. And obviously you'd like to force turnovers, but I also think just getting off the field, not allowing Spring Lake Park to get those 10, 12, 14 play drives would be acceptable as well if you're Cooper.
Very much so, Jay. The offense that Spring Lake Park is affectionately called the split back veer, and they won't vary from it very much.
Dunbar handing it off, and this one going to be good for a first down. Bergman just into Cooper territory before he is brought down as they're able to pop it through there nicely. You see well blocked on the left side, and then he gets it and goes.
That's exactly what they want to do to you. I mean, they'll grind, they'll get 1, 2, 2, 3, whatever, and then they'll pop one with their quick little back.
Bergman goes for 13 on that carry and into Cooper territory at the 49 with the first down of the game here for Spring Lake Park. Dunbar handing off, and that one was stuffed. I don't think he quite got back to the line of scrimmage there as Raheem Akindele and friends got to him. A short loss for Oriana on the play of a yard. So second down and 11 coming up here for Spring Lake Park. Opening possession of the game here for the Panthers as they play at Cooper. They lost in the playoffs here in the semis last year. Cooper shut them out 23-zip. But I think a much better Spring Lake Park team this year for sure. Handoff going left side. Decent gainer of about 5 as they get the surge going as Bergman took that handoff.
And Spring Lake Park is absolutely just fine with getting 3 and 4 yards a pop, Jay, and keeping the clock running, keep the sticks moving, stay ahead of the chains.
Thing is, too, when you're able to get the ball into your opponent territory, too, they can be thinking about 4 downs here. You can run for 4 on this and still be in a spot where you feel pretty good about things.
Exactly.
Handoff right side and just tripped up, but it's going to be easily enough for the first down as Oriana will take that handoff.
Great balance so far. Great balance. You almost get the feeling that Spring Lake Park, at least in this first drive, they're kind of probing, and they've had a nice little. They've had a couple nice plays that have popped for bigger yardage.
Pickup of 9 that time and a first down. So first and 10 at the 36 of Cooper here for Spring Lake Park. Dunbar this time running option to the left. He'll have to cut it back, and he is hit and hit hard. He'll pick up only about a yard on that play.
Be interesting to see as the game evolves, Jay, because he got him for 140 yards last time. They may be spying him this time. Didn't get much on that one.
See good penetration early, and then he was wrapped up by Devontae Haywood there and got some help too with another big hit. So 2nd and 9 here for Spring Lake Park. Hands it off, and another nice gap to run through here down inside the 10-yard line as Oriana takes it. And the Panthers getting some good blocks on the right side of that offensive line.
I think many times in this offense, Jay, the quarterback comes up and he will count. And if he sees something, if he sees that they've got him kind of outflanked one way or the other, you know, he'll go with a little automatic call, and that's the direction they go.
So 1st down and goal to go now from the 8-yard line of Cooper here for Spring Lake Park, as they've had a great first drive here. It started with the kick that went out of bounds, and they are rolling here to start it out. Dunbar will hand it off to Bergman, and he is wrapped up and ridden down there by Khalil Borden.
They went unbalanced to the left that time, Jay, and thought they saw something over there, but Cooper closed quickly.
Sorry, I think it was Jarrell Smith-Shannon in on that stop there. So about a yard gain. And it will be 2nd down and goal to go from the 7. Dunbar handing it off right side. Pretty good surge. Not to the goal line, but he's down inside to about the 2-yard line, it looks like, as Oriana able to advance it.
One thing I'm impressed with Oriana, especially on this play, was the leg drive that he had, Jay. He was hit, and he probably drug those guys for a couple more yards, and he's not a real big fella either. That was impressive.
Listed at 5'10", 170, and he even looks a little smaller than that possibly. But 3rd down goal to go now for Spring Lake Park. And handoff is in for the touchdown as the Panthers go 65 yards on the opening drive to finish it off with an impressive march, and their fans are happy. So Spring Lake Park doing exactly what they wanted to do on the first drive as Bergman pushes it in from a couple yards out.
The classic split back veer drive took up about 6 minutes, Jay? And left side, right side, left side, right side. They went unbalanced and took it over on the unbalanced side.
Kick is up and good from Sam Britz. Getting another look at it as Bergman got hit pretty early by Haywood, but he just had enough. It was kind of 1 versus 1, and he had enough to get the lean and go in.
They get a lot of guys at the point of attack, Jay. A lot of guys at the point of attack, and just big on big, and just get great push.
Yeah, it's interesting because your first thought is that, well, they don't do that many different things. Maybe this won't be so hard to defend, but in practice it's a lot different than what you're actually seeing out there, and they do a great job of getting angles on some of these blocks too. It isn't always about, do you have the mammoth guys who can just power somebody off the line? It's getting leg drive, it's getting some good angles on your blocks, getting off, firing off hard, and they show it on that first drive.
Yep, exactly. I talked to Coach Stewart from Spring Lake Park last night, and anytime you play an option football team, split back veer, triple option, very, very tough to simulate that in a week's time at practice. Really hard.
Going to keep this kick on the ground, but it's fielded nicely, and Cooper's going to have great field position. It's not a long return, but it didn't need to be because great hands by Cornelius Wooten to field that ball. They're a little wary of kicking it deep to a couple of Hawk speedsters there, but can't beat this for field position. Trayshawn McMillan will lead the Cooper offense out as they get set to start at their 48-yard line. And again, they've had a tremendous year offensively and great balance offensively. They've thrown the ball very well. You see McMillan's numbers, 1,626 TDs and only 5 interceptions, and he's a good running threat too. And we are going to have a stoppage before the play can start. The Cooper guy who had a shoe issue, it looks like. Yeah, Wooten. And so they're going to allow them to sub. Coach Howard said we got a few wrinkles offensively to show tonight that they haven't seen yet too. So that's always part of it too, is how much do you change things from game when you play a team earlier in the year and how much do you not?
All right, how much do you add? Because you only get so much time, especially in playoff football. How much do you really tack on?
Handoff goes to Borden, sweeping left, and he is dropped after a short gain, a yard and a half. Looked like first contact there from Deshaun Pate. Yep, and you can look at the defensive alignment for Spring Lake Park.
Coach Stewart was telling me about Pate a little bit. He said he's probably the most charismatic, i.e. most energetic inside linebacker that he has. Really likes him.
2nd down and 9 coming up here for Cooper as they try and answer Spring Lake Park's opening touchdown. McMillan dropping to throw, had time, now he's going to take off and go. And he is met and wrapped up there by Serenus George, but it's a gain of about 6.
Yeah, nice little gainer there. You know, one thing about Tayshawn, he's not afraid to tuck the ball, and you saw him lower his shoulder there and pick up pretty good yardage, set up a very makeable 3rd and 4 here. Spring Lake Park's defense, Jay, is kind of the old 4-4. Kind of nowadays they call it the 4-2-5, but it's basically a 4-4 defense.
And I don't think that snap came exactly when McMillan was asking for it, so a little early movement here, and our first penalty of the game is going to go against Cooper here. Get a false start call against the Hawks. So look at that Cooper offense. They've had a little bit of injuries up front, but still have performed very well as an offensive line, especially when you consider having to plug in, some new guys. But gosh, they've just had some good seasons. I mean, Musu and Adams, the receivers, Borden's had a great year. McMillan as well. And you got to give the O-line some credit on that too. McMillan chased, gets away from the first guy. Now throws it up for grabs over the middle, and it is intercepted. No, going to be ruled incomplete. Ball didn't stay firmly in George's hands. He thought he had it, but the official says no, it hit the ground. Gamble there for McMillan nearly cost him.
One of the cardinal rules of quarterback throwing anyway, throwing across your body, Jay. That's exactly what happened to the young man here. Of course, he's running for his life. But, yeah.
Another look at this at the end. George seemed pretty convinced that he had it. And I guess from that angle, it was pretty hard to tell.
Looks like he was in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I couldn't really see it hit the ground, but ball punted out of there, and it takes a great Cooper bounce. It's going to go all the way down inside the 10, where it is down at the 9-yard line there by Brian Thompson. So not too bad for Cooper. Obviously, they wanted that drive to continue. However, they pinned Spring Lake Park back at the 9-yard line.
Yep, exactly. Tough to go 91 yards.
There's a look at Coach Stewart. He was their offensive coordinator for 16 years, and now first year taking over for Jeff Schlief as the head coach. And we were saying that he's only the 3rd head coach in roughly 40 years, I think, for that program, and they've been solid. They've just always been tough. I mean, some years winning, going farther than others, but just always been a good quality opponent.
Always competitive, great continuity with the staff.
Dunbar running option left, keeps it himself, and got a little bit, and then was driven back, and Cooper wanting to make sure they get bodies on the ball. Adrian Adams in on that tackle, and there's one of those offensive guys that we said going to be doing some work. There's a look at Willie Howard, and he has obviously done some great things. You kind of forget now that it wasn't always this way for Cooper football, winning these games on a regular basis. They had a lot of years of relatively lean, some good, some not as good, and throughout the years, and they've kind of come together and put together a consistent winner. And I think they're to the point now, though, where to really solidify that, they need to get into the state tournament. And that's just where they are right now.
And take this next step.
Second down, Dunbar will run it again. Wrapped up there.
Now I was thinking with a lot of teams when they're backed up in the shadow of their own end zone, it would bother them a little bit. But with this kind of an offense, Jay, I'm not sure Spring Lake Park really cares. I mean, they're just gonna pound the rock no matter what, no matter what position they are on the field.
Yeah, and just the little twist that they can do different too. It isn't, it may look like they're just running exactly the same play time and again, but there are little things that you do to kind of create a little indecision in that defense too. Dunbar looking things over as he runs it left, handoff, and that'll be a first down and more for Bergman. Adams rides him down at the 34, but they pop another one for a long gainer here on third down and about 3, and they get 17 or so.
Right, and Bergman and Oriana, is that how we're pronouncing his name? Yeah, he's they're both racking up some yards early on in the game here.
Got a good block right on the edge too that really helped to spring that one. So first down for the Panthers at their 34-yard line. Good start for them on the road. They score on their first drive and then get a stop. Now have the football for the second time, and off the left side a decent pickup for Bergman on the first down play. And here's the other thing about, we're saying not only does Spring Lake Park run the ball a lot, they generally are running between the tackles. So you look up and, the quarter's getting chewed down pretty quick. 2:25 to go in this quarter.
I just looked at it myself, Jay, and it's melting down there with, just almost 2 minutes to go. That was more of a zone look that time from him.
This time going to the right. Oh, and Ariana is blasted there. Amusu came up and just knocked him off his feet. He got turned sideways just a little bit, and that kind of left him as a sitting duck for the tackler here. Watch this right here. Amusu comes up and just pushes him to the ground. Smith Shannon was there as well.
Yeah, really couldn't get his shoulder square to get any kind of momentum going on that one. And Cooper just washed him down.
So a big third down coming up here, 3rd and 5. The Panthers have shown an ability to convert, via the ground. They have not thrown the ball yet, which again is not unexpected based on what they do all season long. Dunbar option to the left. Oriana trying to get to that edge. And he will be stopped well short of the first down here. See where they mark him. I'm not sure he gained anything there.
I'm not sure he did either.
So it will bring up 4th down for Spring Lake Park. You see the great penetration. They really made Dunbar get rid of the ball quick as Madison got in there.
Right.
And then you see it's well defended. There's 2 or 3 guys there, and he got back maybe a half yard or so, and that's about it. See if they're just going to try and draw him offside here, and it might have worked. Spring Lake Park's pumped up. They think they got the offside, and that would be just enough for a first down. And it indeed is going to be a key mistake there for Cooper.
Very much so.
Because really in that spot, it's highly unlikely they were actually going to go for it.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I thought right from the get-go, Jay, they were gonna definitely try to draw him off sides and then, go back into punt formation.
So first down now from the 46. Dunbar keeping it, cuts it up.
Nice job of reading by the quarterback on that one. Reading the defensive end, whether to give or take it himself.
Sabilla on the tackle here. Got a little help from Smith Shannon as well. He'll pick up 4 yards on that play as we are under a half minute to go in this opening quarter. I don't know that they'll need to run another play here. Yeah. They might have to get one more. Right at the 50-yard line. 2nd down and 6 here for Spring Lake Park. Dunbar will snap it. They go to Bergman. Bounced off the first guys, but then just too many bodies there, and they finish him after about a 1-yard gain. So we have come to the end of the opening quarter. Things going as planned so far for Spring Lake Park. They march down the field and score and then force a Cooper punt. So the quarter comes to an end, and our score after one, Spring Lake Park 7, Cooper nothing. We'll be back with our second quarter here on CCX Sports. Welcome back here to Cooper High School. I'm Jay Wilcox along with Joe Basil and Allie Arlt for the coverage of tonight's Section 5 5A Football Championship. Spring Lake Park, the visitors in white, leading at 7-0 here over Cooper. The number 1 seed Cooper, number 2 seed Spring Lake Park meeting for the section championship. 3rd down and 3 coming up here for the Panthers as we begin our second quarter. Dunbar will hand it off. Ariana is wrapped up, and he'll be a little bit short of the first down, it appears. Smith Shannon in on the stop there for Cooper. Well, he's going to be awful close.
Yeah, a little bit shy, I think, Jay. But now this is one that well, no, he's going to call for a measurement, looks like.
Yeah, from here it definitely appears they're short, although not by very much, less than a half yard.
Yep.
Dunbar doing hopping over the chains as he was coming to meet with his coach, and they were bringing the chains out and had to avoid that. Yep, just short, but certainly at your opponent's 46, this is very much a go-for-it situation here for the Panthers, I'm sure.
I believe so. And they might try that little freeze play again to try to draw them off sides, but I think they'll probably go for it here.
Dunbar up to the line of scrimmage here. He's going to hand it off. Oh boy, there wasn't much forward push. I think Cooper stopped it.
Depends on the spot.
Bergman driven back. Cooper is convinced that they've stopped him short, but I don't know. The spot might be enough for a first down. It is.
We got the classic left foot spot from the official there, Jay, and I think that's what did it.
Well, I'm not so sure that it wasn't, correct spot. You see how far back he gets driven doesn't matter. That's not his forward progress got him to just about that stripe, the 45-yard line. And
exactly. That's all you got to do.
Ariana this time taking it on the right side. Will pick up 3 or 4.
Really impressed again with the leg drive of these two backs, Jay. They're strong kids. You can tell that Spring Lake Park gets in the weight room in the off season, no doubt about it.
And sometimes a smaller guy like that too is, it's harder to get to his legs, it feels like. When you're compact and low to the ground, he's got the pad level pretty low.
Yes, he does.
2nd and 6. Dunbar keeping on the option. He will fall forward close to the first down, about a yard short it looks like.
Nice job by him. He just took one little quarter of a second, decided, I'm going to keep it, and took it down, nearly got the first down.
So a 3rd and 1 coming up here for Spring Lake Park. They just converted on a 4th and very short a moment ago and trying to keep this march going. And they will get the first down as Bergman didn't get a whole lot, but didn't need very much either.
Yep, didn't need a lot.
He is able to gain that first down yardage before Jabari Walker brings him down.
What's real impressive too, Jay, is Cooper could hardly put more guys in the box. All right, and Spring Lake Park is just doing a great job of road grading. Okay, O-line term. just getting movement, letting these guys pick their little creases. Oh.
Bergman taking that handoff. And down near the 30 as you get another look. A little different wrinkle here as he got the little, not handoff, but pitch, I should say, from Dunbar.
Right.
Pickup of about 5. We haven't seen a whole lot of the true option yet. Or the extension of the option, I should say.
Right.
So 2nd and 5 here for the Panthers. And
there's another
early
3-5
movement from Cooper, and
yeah,
looks like it'll be another offside penalty here against the Hawks.
See, this is where that patience game starts to wear on you a little bit too, Jay. We talked about it earlier when they, I think in the pregame a little bit, when they get these long drives going and sustaining these long drives, people get a little bit antsy on the other side.
Not enough for the first down, but it will leave him with 2nd and a yard here. And another nice gainer as leg drive continues down to about the 17 that time as the Panthers continue to move it well.
And we haven't even mentioned, of course, the fact that a very potent Cooper offense is sitting along the sidelines, not able to do much.
And again, a nice run right off tackle here down near the 10-yard line.
Straight ahead blocking there.
Bergman will pick up 7 or 8 on that play.
Coach Stewart told me last night they split. They split him. He thinks Bergman might have a few more yards than Oriana, but they pretty much split duties.
Oriana will take the handoff here, trying to get to that corner of the end zone, and he's in for the touchdown.
He got there, Jay.
Panthers, another nice drive, and this time Oriana finishes it. And they will stretch the lead now to 13-0 pending the extra point. So Britt's on to attempt the extra point here. And this one is blocked. So Cooper able to keep him from adding the extra point anyway, but watch the touchdown run here by Oriana. As this was, you talked about leg drive. He was hit at about the 4 and just reaching that ball out.
Just got inside the pylon there. I think that block, Jay, actually came from up the middle. I think some guys were skying up there and did a good job, and as we know, that could come into play later on. That could be a very important point once the Cooper offense gets rolling a little bit.
So last time the Panthers kicked the ball low on the ground, and Cooper fielded it cleanly and got excellent field position. See what if the plan changes any this time around, as David Lukens will boot it here for Spring Lake Park.
Coming from the near hash here, Jay. So you would think that it probably would be to his left, but we'll see.
He's going to drive this one deep. Taking it at the 12-yard line here is Borden. Borden trying to get way across the field here and just kind of runs out of space. It kind of had the feel that they had, a return left on, and he stuck with it because you can't, just run away from your blockers, but really not a lot of space there. So,
and they did a nice job of stringing Borden out. Obviously a dangerous return guy. We saw that against Armstrong, and maybe not the guy you're always going to want to kick to, but I think that they just kind of rolled the dice and did a nice job. Everybody stayed in their lane, and they strung him out.
Well, and Coach Stewart was saying that their special teams coach Eggers is likes to really get in depth and do some different things and see what may. And we're seeing that there. It isn't you don't just say go kick the ball off. They've got some different plans for different situations.
Right, exactly.
McMillan throwing out to Amusu in the flat, breaks the first tackle, puts on the brakes, and then hops out of bounds at about the 33-yard line. He'll be close to a first down. It looks like just short, though. But this is more what Cooper would like to see, get things going, and Pedro is very explosive.
Yep. That's kind of one of their go-tos is the bubble screen. They love using the bubble, and they got the guys that can do it.
9-yard pickup, 2nd down and 1 here for Cooper.
Kind of a 2-by-2 balance formation here, Jay.
And off to Borden, got by the first guy but not the next, as he was stacked up by a guy who appeared to be about twice as tall as him there, Blake Holm, as he grabbed him. But it will be enough for the first down, though. Borden, much like earlier when Spring Lake Park, you just get the forward progress enough to get that first down. It's the first down for the Hawks. So they try and get something going here at their 35-yard line. 1st and 10, trailing at 13-zip. McMillan looking, doesn't see receiver now, throwing late and incomplete. Dangerous one there as he looked for Wooten, and coming over defensively was Sam Fritz. You see, let that ball go, and Wooten, you see Fritz nearly picked that one off.
Yep. He did a nice job at first of extending the play, but then didn't get much on it. Kind of was throwing from his back foot there, Jay, and Spring Lake Park nearly got the pick.
So 2nd down and 10 for Cooper. 2 of the 3 throws from McMillan have almost been intercepted.
Trips to the top of the screen on that one, Jay.
McMillan firing over the middle, and that one is complete. Nice catch there as the ball was a little bit behind Akeem Alba there, but he did a nice job of squeezing it, and it'll be enough for the first down for Cooper.
Many times when teams go trips to one side, they'll come back to the other side and either run a slant or a quick hitch to the X receiver on the single side.
Boy, that was an even better catch than I realized the first time around. It was thrown hard and quite a bit behind him, but Malba able to snare it. First down from the 48. They go to Borden, and that one is stacked up for no gain.
Really haven't been able to get Borden untracked yet, have they?
No, Braden Johnson there to meet him for Spring Lake Park. And if anything, a short loss on that play. No, he's only had 3 touches so far, and that goes back to it's hard to get your rhythm when the Panthers have these long extended drives, too.
Right, exactly.
So 2nd and 11 here for the Hawks. We near the halfway point of the second quarter, trailing at 13-0.
Spring Lake Park shifting their defense a little bit, and there's a little swing.
Throw it out to Borden. Borden is brought down. Nice open field stop that time for Spring Lake Park, as that's Bergman out there defensively making the tackle.
Yep. One of the few guys that goes both ways for Spring Lake Park. I mean, Borden in open space, you would think favorable to the Hawks, but did a great job of corralling him that time.
Well, Coach Stewart talked to us about how he said we had more missed tackles against Cooper than in any regular season game we've had, so we really tried to work on that. And obviously a lot of it has to do with just their speed and shiftiness, but he said we just were trying to be real sound defensively, coming up, flowing to the ball, and making the right plays. McMillan under pressure here as he rolls to the right, throwing it out of bounds. Couple receivers out there, but they were really well covered on that play. So bring up 4th down and long here for Cooper.
Yeah, I'm not sure that one had a chance. And maybe, you know what, maybe he just decided we're going to throw it away and live to fight another day here.
Be interesting to see. I was going to say if they would consider going for it, but McMillan is not on the field. Osseo in to punt.
This is not a bad spot to go for fake, but I'm not sure they're going to do it. Oh.
High snap there, and he'll get the punt away. It's a short end-over-end kick. No chance for return. It'll be down at the 30-yard line after a 21-yard punt. So Spring Lake Park gets the football back. Boy, they've been solid defensively and offensively so far.
They really have.
Leading at 13-zip. And 5:08 to go in our second quarter of play here. The winner goes to the state playoffs. And kind of a special treat for the winner of this one, too. They'll be playing over at the new Vikings facility over in Egan. That some of the state playoff games are slated for there, and it happens that the winner of this section will be playing the winner of Section 6, either Elk River or Sauk Rapids Rice, at the new TCO Performance Center there at the Vikings Stadium.
What a great additional venue, huh, for these young men. That would be fantastic.
First down from the 30 for Dunbar and crew. And another nice gainer on first down. Oriana will take it for about 8.
Yep.
They're getting to that second level on way more runs than Cooper would like to see here.
Yeah, they really are. And I think what's really making that happen is they're of course running their too tight a lot, and their tight end and their tackle are doubling the end man for Cooper, and then they're leading, and they're giving them fits with it.
Spinning to the option here. Bergman got a good block. Bergman down the sideline. And let's see, went out of bounds somewhere. Then we had a huge collision late.
Bergman got a pancake, I think.
There's a flag down on the play, though. So this one may be coming back. See that huge block right there. And at the end, there's two guys who just smashed into each other. One flying toward the ball. Bergman, you see Dunbar just barely got that pitch out of there. And quite a long discussion on it. It certainly appears that it's going to be on Spring Lake Park, but whether it was a hold or a illegal block of some sort here.
He hasn't really given us the signal yet, has he, Jay?
Not that I've seen. Illegal block in the back against Spring Lake Park. So that's actually their first penalty of the game, and it's a costly one. But you sometimes see that on those plays on the edge like that.
Mm-hmm. But it's a first down, Jay, I believe. At least that's the way they have it marked over there at the chain gang. Yep.
So they'll push them back to the 43-yard line, but it is first down and 10. Dunbar handing it off. That one was well defended, not much for Bergman. He'll pick up a yard or so.
I think maybe Cooper's trying to walk one additional guy up on the line, Jay, and maybe kind of throw off the blocking a little bit. At least looks like they did it on that play. More of like an extra DN for Cooper.
Second down and 9 coming up here for Spring Lake Park. Under 4 minutes to go in this opening half. The Panthers have kind of dominated this one so far, leading at 13-0. Boy, what happens on this drive is going to be huge either way. If Cooper gets a stop, it's big for them. If Spring Lake Park were able to, finish a drive again, they would be in pretty good command.
Right.
Timeout taken here by the Panthers. Show you how these teams got here. Of course, we've gone since the move to 6 classes. Both of these teams had a bye. I'm not going to get into it too much depth, but I'm sorry, winning 2 games shouldn't put you in the state tournament. I don't know. I wish we didn't have these sections with only 6 teams like this. But for both of these teams, they got nice wins. Spring Lake Park beat the Irondale team that had handed Cooper its only loss at the end of the regular season with a nice 26-17 win. And Cooper really pretty much dominated against St. Louis Park. They still had a little leftover animosity, I think, from losing to them in the section final last year, even though they'd already played earlier this year too. And then the Hawks, really dominated the first half, just kind of took control right away, and then Second half, not a lot happened in terms of scoring, but they won at 35-7, so the winner will be the Section 5 champion here tonight. 2nd down and 9 coming up for Spring Lake Park. A little over 3.5 minutes to go here in the second quarter. Dunbar running option left, pitching it out. Ariana gets cartwheeled down just shy of midfield. And it will be about a 6, maybe 7-yard gain.
Couple of really nice blocks out here, Jay, by probably the most spread out you're going to see a Spring Lake Park wide receiver core out here, and did a nice job and paved the way for about a 6-yard, 7-yard gain, 5-yard gain.
So 3rd down and 4 coming up here for Spring Lake Park. And a handoff there to Bergman. He is cut down, but he will have enough for the first down into Cooper territory, down to about the 44.
Bergman comes up limping a little bit there, but yeah, another nice gainer. Of course, keeps the clock going again. And I think you notice sometime that when the quarterback comes up, Jay, he'll be counting. He'll be counting, guys on either side of the ball, and that's the way they go. That's the advantage of a split back offense. Of course, Cooper trying to keep everything balanced.
Dunbar running option right this time. Bergman taking the pitch. They force him to cut, and then he pays the price. Pick up a couple yards on the play. Good job of getting contained on the edge there. That kind of made him cut back, and that's not really his kind of game, I don't think.
No, it's not. And Cooper ran to the ball really well that time, I thought. The other back was out in front trying to stalk block a little bit, but to no avail.
I think for Spring Lake Park, too, sometimes you have to throw in a little bit of wrinkle there so you're not running off tackle every single play. It's just a little bit of a change of pace. Hand off here again, and that'll be enough for a first down, as spinning backward there was Ariana with the ball.
I'll tell you what, that particular play, I'm not sure how many times they've ran that particular play tonight or some variation of it, but call that the 6-hole, 7-hole out there. They are making money out there, Jay.
Smith Shannon the stop, but again, it's coming about 10 yards downfield, which is absolutely not what Cooper was hoping for. First down on the Hawks 32 now for Spring Lake Park. Dunbar looking to throw, and the pass is complete. Down the sideline. Oh, I think we might have a face mask there at the end. Yes, indeed, a face mask coming against Cooper. The completion to Bergman as he was brought down. Well, we talked about that before the game. They're not going to throw the ball much, but when they do, it's going to come as kind of a surprise to the defense, and boy, was he wide open.
Oh, was he ever. Yeah, and that is exactly what happens against the team when you're trying to defend a team like this, because you have to honor their play action all the time. They run it so much.
And you see on the stop right there, it'll be a half the distance penalty. I guess that's the good news if you're Cooper, as Kane ended up with the face mask. So it'll only move it forward a couple yards, but it's going to put him on the 2-yard line. Yeah, you see there was not a much more obvious face mask that you can find than that one.
Right. And what you find, too, on a play action situation like that with a team like Spring Lake Park, the young man is usually wide open, so it's a pretty easy target for the quarterback.
Dunbar handing off, and they stack Bergman up just short of the goal line. And it'll be about a 1-yard gain.
I think it's a Cooper timeout here, Jay. They called it pretty quick.
I was going to say, it sounds strange to say, but it's almost better for Spring Lake Park if he doesn't get in on first down there. If they take another play or two to punch it in and then use up some more of that time.
And you see that sometime in games, usually late in the game or whatever. They'll tell someone to, take a knee before they get in the end zone or.
Yeah, and I'm not saying they're to that point yet where they can, they're going to try to score right away, obviously. But just the way it works out, it could perhaps be better for them if they didn't score instantly.
Well, the way these horses are blocking for Spring Lake Park, I think you'll only be able to hold them back probably maybe one more play. We'll see.
Big surge needed for Cooper to try and get a stop here. They did get a stop late in the game, it sounded like, or when they beat the Panthers earlier, but they're not going to get one right here as the Panthers come firing off and Bergman plows in from a yard out. And Spring Lake Park has scored the first 3 touchdowns of this game.
See if they're going to go for 2 here, Jay, to try to get back on track.
You see, they came quick out of that timeout. They did, they vary their tempo a little bit, and sometimes they run a little bit, intentionally are a little bit slow up there. But that time they fired off quick and on a quick count. Yeah, and I think you're right, Joe. I think they're going to go for 2 after they had the last opportunity blocked. Bergman getting his second TD of the night.
He's got a guy split out, otherwise everybody else in tight.
Option, and Dunbar is going to run it in for 2-point conversion. And so it becomes 21-0 Spring Lake Park. 1:27 to go here in this first half from Cooper, and the Cooper fans kind of stunned right now, I think.
I think so too. I think the quarterback for Spring Lake Park on that one, I'm not sure he was even touched. He just kind of slithered right in there and went in standing up, Jay. Yeah, I definitely think Cooper, you can tell from the sideline down here. Now, they do have the kind of offense that can generate a 1:27. That's a long time. How many timeouts? You got all 3 of their timeouts.
I think a couple left. Yeah, they used a couple there.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, and but I think they are a little bit shell shocked, honestly, right now.
Lukens will kick it off here for the Panthers. Last time booted it deep. The first time a squibber on the ground that was fielded nicely by Wooten. Going to drive this one deep again, or somewhat deep at about the 15, juggled and dropped by Borden. And then he nearly squeezed between several tacklers there. He stopped, though, at the 25-yard line. So the Hawks need to go 75 yards, 1:22 to go. And in some situations, you might say, well, we'll kind of play conservative here. But I think that third score for Spring Lake Park probably is going to mean Cooper is going to really try and go for something down here.
Oh, absolutely they are. Yeah, absolutely. They have to. Well, they're going trips to the top, to the far side here. And last time they hit their X receiver, their single receiver on the slant.
McMillan has all day to throw, throwing deep downfield. And Adams just unable to squeeze it.
They had 2 of the receivers on 9 or go routes, and I think both of them were open, actually, Jay. And pretty ball right there.
Yeah, looked like a ball that Adams probably should have caught and just snuck through him.
Yeah, not the easiest one over your shoulder like that, but that's one that I'm sure they drill and practice, and they do that a lot. But underneath the lights on Friday night, it's a little different.
I will say this, though, Joe. It's as disappointing as it is that you didn't hit that one. You might feel good that it was there, and you could possibly see it again.
Come back to it, sure.
2nd down and 10. Again, McMillan has all day to throw as the Panthers playing coverage here late in the half. Now he runs into his own guy a little bit and is wrapped up and dropped. So McMillan will lose.
That's not what you want to see.
15, nearly 20 yards there.
I actually thought for just a moment there he might just kind of dump it off. I think he had Borden out there on a little bit of a swing, but then he kept running toward him. And at that point, my recommend is throw it out of bounds again and huddle up, because the loss on that, Jay, was
about 19 yards.
Yeah, that makes it really hard now.
Yeah, and Cooper, I think the fact that they lost so big on that play takes the idea out of trying to score now a little bit. I mean, you might break one big, but because they didn't stop the clock on that last play either.
Right, and Spring Lake Park is in a pretty deep quarters coverage here, so obviously the Spring Lake Parks coaches are saying, nobody behind you, nobody behind you.
Taking a timeout here is Cooper, as I think they were in danger of running out of time there anyway. So about 15 seconds to go in the first half, and Cooper now backed up significantly after that big sack. 3rd down and very long to go, 3rd and about 19. Still a lot of time to go in this game, but definitely not what Cooper was looking for coming into tonight. And they, it's going to be interesting talks, I think, for both teams at halftime, especially Cooper here.
Especially Cooper.
Yeah.
We're obviously going to have to see a different Cooper team come out of that locker room.
I would say this, though, that Cooper, probably a little better suited to coming from behind maybe than Spring Lake Park would be, just, in terms of what they're running.
Absolutely.
McMillan now is going to tuck it and go. And breaks a tackle and lunges forward, and he might have this first down, it looks like. That's a heck of a run. Now, it's still probably going to be too late for them to do much with this, but it might give them a little bit of confidence and a little bit of feeling good about themselves coming out of that, as McMillan lowered the first. He broke a tackle, and then he lowered his shoulder to get that first down at the 35.
As I said earlier, when he made that run early in the first quarter, the young man's a tough runner, and very elusive out there, and I like the way he handles himself.
So we could be down to the last play of the half here, depending on how it shapes up. Spring Lake Park's got about 7 guys 15 yards deep or so.
Right. You could see some type of lateral play here, or
McMillan.
Dipsy doodle, but no, it looks like.
Now going to step up, and he flings it out for Borden, and it will fall incomplete. It looks like.
Is that going to do it?
It doesn't look like it. It looks like there's like 0.3 of a second on the clock. Oh, we got a flag down, it appears. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Timeout. Timeout granted to Cooper. They'll have their last timeout. They will have one more play coming. McMillan's had time, but he has not had, a lot of open guys. And obviously this is a little bit different situation when Spring Lake Park's really playing, as you said, deep quarters coverage. There's not going to be a lot open downfield, but they've made him a little indecisive, and I think that's credit to, to Spring Lake Park game plan, but also just the way their kids are executing it too.
Yeah, they've got. It'll be interesting to see that. You definitely have the one play here, and do you run 4 verts and take your shot? We'll see what happens.
If I were Cooper, I'm not so sure I wouldn't flood one area and then try and get it to somebody else a lot shorter and see if Borden can run past everyone, or Omusu, or
right. Or they're coming out here with trips. They're 3-by-1 again, Jay. See, and Borden swinging.
McMillan getting a little pressure this time, steps up and throws, and there it is, the lateral. Spring Lake Park, they got him down just before that second lateral, so nice play. It ends the half, but Spring Lake Park does end up making the tackle.
All right. I like the call.
Yeah, they did gain about 27 yards on the play. However, the half does come to an end, and it's been an excellent half, to say the least, here for the visitors from Spring Lake Park, as they will take a 21-0 lead into the locker room. So a 21-0 lead for the Panthers. Let's go down to Allie now with Coach Stewart.
Coach, aside from the fact that you guys had primary possession of the ball in that first half, How was this team able to hold one of the most explosive offenses in 5A to 0 points in the first?
Right now it's been some good tackling and getting them off schedule. So then they've had to do some things maybe that I don't know if they're not comfortable with it or whatever. But you just saw there was a big deep one that they just missed. So there's some luck, and then there's just been some good coverage and good pressure from the D-line.
Is there anything that you saw out of your team that you didn't see in the first half that you want to come out with in the second?
I think it's just for us, it's going to be a mentality of making sure we come out and look to play 4 quarters. That's one of our big team goals is 4 quarters of play, and that's what it's going to take. I mean, we know they could put up points in a hurry, and so that's what's repeat a first half and tough defense and grind away on offense is our goal.
Impressive first half. Anything you saw you didn't like with your team?
I think we just want to make sure we keep our composure as things, nothing's going on at this point, but as the flags start to fly and who knows what's going on, I think that's just our biggest thing is keeping composure and going out and playing our brand of football.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, Allie, and thanks to Coach Stewart. So a 21-0 lead for Spring Lake Park here at halftime. We'll have first half highlights and more of our Section 5 5A championship here on CCX Sports.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
First time I tried Vicodin, it was laying around my mom's house. And then I kept taking them whenever I could get them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Welcome back here to Cooper, and I got to tell you, when I was walking up to the stadium, they were just firing up that grill, and boy, did it smell good. Some great,
looks good too.
Yeah, great game night eats here at Cooper. It hasn't gone the way the Hawks wanted in the first half, though. They trail Spring Lake Park by a score of 21-0 so far here in this Section 5 5A football championship, and let's take a look at some first half action from this one, and pretty good start certainly for Spring Lake Park. They got the football first, and they just kind of got to work on their ground game right away. There's Bergman popping one. He had a solid first half for them, and then he takes this handoff, this time Ariana taking it down to the 8-yard line, and both of those guys up over 70 yards in the first half. Bergman finishing off that first drive, and that was kind of a tone setter. That was the only scoring of the first quarter. Spring Lake Park led 7-0, going 65 yards on the opening possession. They got a stop, and then they came back the other way, and Ariana just getting the ball over before he is brought down, and extra point that time was blocked, so it made it a 13-0 game. Cooper getting a pass out in the flat to Amusu, but just not a lot of offense working for them in this first half. Great catch there by Malba. These were all toward the end of that second quarter. They got something going, but then Spring Lake Park, only throw of the first half is to Bergman. He's face masked there, and that set him up at the 2-yard line, and Bergman punches it in. And so that one came about a minute and a half to go in the first half, and they got the 2-point conversion, as well as Dunbar looking to run option left. And Cooper, late in the half, got a little bit going as they saw the completion there, and then the lateral to Amusu. A good play, but then his knee touches down there, and then the half came to an end. So you see the first half stats definitely heavily favoring Spring Lake Park, and really, to be honest, Cooper, of that 80, I think about 50 of that came on 2 plays on that last drive. So even that was more than what they really had for most of the half. And you see they've been hurt a little bit by penalties as well. We'll take another time out here. We are at Cooper High School's Barbara A. Lehman Stadium. The Hawks trailing Spring Lake Park 21-0, but still plenty of football to go here on CCX. Welcome back. Spring Lake Park fans across the way have had more to cheer about. Obviously, in this first half, they lead it by a score of 21-0 here in the Section 5A football championship as the teams take their little warm-up portion here to begin the second half. We'll take a look at some of the other scores around in Class 6A there as Eden Prairie leading Mounds View. Wayzata a 1-point lead on Woodbury. Lakeville South Champlain Park looking like a good game, and Maple Grove hanging in with Lakeville North at this point. Top ranked Lakeville North 7-7 with Maple Grove. You see Blaine up big on Prior Lake, and Minnetonka leading Rosemount.
Yeah, I had a feeling that Maple Grove would go down there and give them a pretty good game, because in the second half of their game in the regular season, Maple Grove was kind of right there, and then, you know, a few little plays here and there, and Lakeville North prevailed. But as we talked about earlier, pre-game here, you know, Maple Grove's very tough 3-5 team or 4-5 team, very capable of giving Lakeville North a good game.
Now, if you're Spring Lake Park coming into the second half, you know, you can't be content to say, well, we dominated that first half. That's the way it's going to stay. So they're obviously looking to get set to try and change that around a little bit. Let's go down to Allie.
The highest powered offenses in Class 5A. What happened in the first half to get shut out?
We didn't have the ball that long. They did a great job controlling the ball, and now we got to make our adjustments. We get the ball back second half for the kickoff, so we got to go out there and take care of business.
Nas Borden, 2 yards in the first half. How do you get him to get the ball more and push forward?
I think we had 6 plays on offense, so if he got 2 yards and 6 plays, we got to get that changed, and we made some adjustments at halftime. We're going to see if they're ready to compete.
What was the message in the locker room at half?
Do your job, and we still got to go 1-0.
You got it, Coach. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. And Allie, as obviously Willie Howard, he's been through it now. He's been around high school football for a while now as their head coach, and I think your first temptation is to maybe walk in and start yelling and throwing things, but you realize too that you've just you kind of got to stick with what got you here to this point too. You can't throw that all out the window and say we need to do everything a lot different. We just need to shore up some things and go from there.
And you know what I like, in one word, I like what he just said there, Jay. We're going to find out if our kids want to compete. And Spring Lake Park obviously came out, and they definitely wanted to compete this evening, and so they'll probably be there the second half. Let's find out if the Hawks are ready to meet that and go beyond that.
I think kind of a key point he made too there is we get the ball to start the second half, and that certainly could go a long way toward getting your team back in the game if you're able to get something done right away on this opening possession, which Spring Lake Park, to their credit, in the first half they did they did take advantage of getting the football first. They did a nice job driving the ball down the field.
Yeah, and I think the key point for Cooper is not to panic. They've got a great offense. They know they have a great offense, and just go out and as he said, just do what they do. And no need to panic. They can score 21 points, 28 points, 35 points, in 2 quarters and get it done.
They did, have that late regular season loss to Irondale. Coach was saying we had quite a few guys sick, and we were really thinking toward the playoffs there. We weren't, not an excuse or anything like that, but it didn't matter that much to us because we were going to be a number 1 seed anyway. And but I think for those kids, it's not the first time that they've trailed. They're not having that oh my gosh feeling what's happening here. Maybe a little bit, but
right.
But certainly they did see that situation against Irondale. So they hopefully have in their mind that one half doesn't equal a whole game.
Exactly. Be interesting to see if they continue to kick the board in here, Jay. That would be a quick way for Cooper to get back into the game. Let's see what they do.
Lukens to kick off, and he will indeed boot it deep again. And this one's going to stay in bounds and is taken on about the 3-yard line here by Borden. And good kick coverage as Spring Lake Park. And I think they did obviously it's a fundamental good thing anyway, but they know, when you've got an explosive guy that you can't have one guy sprinting down and thinking he's just going to nail him in his tracks. You got to really surround him and stay in your lanes.
Right, go flying by. Yeah, they broke down. And they've got some real quick guys on that kickoff team, and outside of that kind of miss kick, they put Cooper in some pretty tough field position to start off with here.
Yeah, we should give credit to the kicker on that last one for really making that a tough one. Cooper starts on the 13. McMillan will keep it, and McMillan popped pretty good there. He made the first man miss, but solid open field tackle made on him there by Sam Fritz, and it will be a pickup of about 6 for McMillan. You see a nice little shake right there, got the first guy to miss, but then Fritz coming over to finish him.
Yeah, and he's a big part of their run game, and we'll see. And I'm glad to see they just didn't come out firing right away, and that's a good sign. Good sign of maturity, and they're going to run their offense.
From the 19, McMillan will throw it into the flat, and that is complete. And Wooten will have enough for the first down there, as they will pick up about 6, and Cooper's going to go no huddle here.
Yep, good time to go no huddle when you get the first down and get a little momentum going. Maybe get Spring Lake Park back on their heels a little bit.
On the 25 now, McMillan tucks it, and he will take off and run, and McMillan a nice gainer of 9 or maybe 10. Let's see where they'll spot this. He might be close to this first down.
Very close. Yep, very close to it, Jay. I think they're signaling first down.
Yep, it'll be a 10-yard pickup from McMillan, so far so good. A small sample size, but they've come out looking sharp here to begin this drive here to start the second half.
Coming out trips to the near side again, Jay, 3-by-1. They like that formation.
McMillan will throw out from Osseo, but it's low, incomplete forward pass there. Spring Lake Park doing the right thing. You pick it up just in case, but it was definitely forward there.
Right.
Now we have a flag down too.
Just a little bit low.
Gonna get an illegal use of hands or a hold, it looks like, against Cooper, and see if Spring Lake Park might deny this or decline the penalty here. It's a hold against the offense. They are going to push him back 10.
Yeah.
So it'll be 1st and 20 now for Cooper.
Coming balanced again with their 2-by-2. Borden hasn't touched the ball yet.
McMillan under a rush, and they're going to wrap him up and sack him back at about the 17 or so.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a jailbreak there. I'm not sure that Tayshawn had too much of a chance.
Did a good job just to tuck it at that point because he's surrounded. So Trayshawn McMillan there, he's had a few like that where, the plays breaks down. Although I would maintain that there still was decent time to start it out, but just not a receiver that he felt comfortable throwing to there. So
you want to be really, really careful about waving that ball around, especially down in this territory.
McMillan throwing over the middle, complete to Adrian Adams. Not enough for the first down, but it's a heck of a gainer there out to about the 37. So give him 19 or so on that gainer.
Yeah, nice job of finding green grass, as we say, and the Spring Lake Park zone right here.
Well thrown ball. Adams a nice catch, although you give credit for Spring Lake Park that they had guys there to ready to make a tackle. So it's still 3rd and long, but certainly a nice play for Cooper to put themselves in a much more manageable spot here on this 3rd down.
Going trips to the far side.
Pressure coming. McMillan throws. It's complete, but well short of the 1st down as Bergman coming up and putting a hit on Osseo.
Yeah, Spring Lake Park is going to give him that 6-yard hitch all day long, Jay. Especially with 8, 9, 10 yards to go. They'll give him that hitch.
Nice job getting to the ball quickly there. Credit Osseo for hanging on despite taking a pretty good hit there, but
he took a good lick.
Osseo is the punter, and he will boot it away. Fair catch called for. Whoa! And then losing his footing. You can laugh about it when it works out for you there, but a little bit of anxious moments for Sam Fritz there.
Yeah, he kind of put the thrill back in the punt return there.
You see right here, catch. Just as his left foot planted. That's pretty good concentration to still catch that ball there. Wow.
Very good focus right there. Because I think it also hit him in the pads, too, for him to be able to, hang on to it, Jay.
So the Panthers will have it at their 31-yard line. Their opening possession here of this 2nd half. They lead it 21-0, and an official's timeout here.
Be curious to see what kind of adjustment Cooper's made here on D for the 2nd half, Jay.
A little problem with the chains, it looks like. Looks like there might be a little tangle going on over there as they tried to, one of the officials over there to help it out and get it all spread out and ready to go.
Let's see.
Dunbar giving it off, and that'll be, there's a flag down on the play. Nice gainer, but I'm not sure if it'll be coming back or if that's against the defense, as Ariana took the ball there for the Panthers.
Let's see what the call is here.
Had a face mask call against Cooper, so it'll be a 1st down.
I thought I actually thought I saw a hand kind of going by the face mask there, Jay, but I was going to let the white hat call it.
Yeah, 5-yarder, so not a 15, but it is enough for the 1st down.
They love running behind Max Horn and Trey Toner over there, Jay. They've been definitely going a little more to the right tonight, a little more right-handed.
Ariana taking the handoff there. Smith, Shannon, the tackle, and you can see Cooper sending blitzers a little bit more. They know they need to do something slightly different, at least to disrupt the Spring Lake Park rhythm.
Right. And then it becomes a little bit of a guessing game, and as I said, a lot of times the Spring Lake Park quarterback is counting, and then he may audible to the other side. It's kind of a feign blitz here. Yeah.
Hand off there, and a quick stop made for the Hawks as Haywood got to him early.
3rd and short. Spring Lake Park loves 3rd and 2, I'm sure.
That football resting at their 49-yard line here. 3rd and a couple. Boy, Cooper could really use a stop here.
They really can.
Not going to get it, though. Ariana. And he is pushed out of bounds, but not before he picks up the 1st down and more.
There they are again, running behind Horn and Toner. Love that side over there.
$15-yard gainer here. And so it'll be Panther football at the Cooper 36, and then a fresh set of downs to work with as they continue to grind on that clock. Hand off here, and another nice gainer of about 9 as Ariana takes it. And Cooper, as we said, sending some extra guys, but they're not getting there, and sometimes that can leave you a little vulnerable at the backside too.
They're not only not getting there, Jay, but they're blitzing from Spring Lake Park seems to be more right-handed right now, and Cooper's blitzing from the opposite side.
2nd down and 1. Ariana will pick up that 1st down.
Got a Cooper guy down here, I think, Jay. He just got up. I hate to say deja vu all over again here, but this reminds me a little bit of one of those drives in the first quarter when we looked at the clock and there were 6 minutes, I think the very first quarter when there were 6 minutes to go when they scored their first one.
Football now on the Cooper 23, 1st and 10 here for the Panthers. Dunbar running option right, and now he's just going to tuck it and go, and you'll get about 3 wrapped up there by Charles Washington. So they haven't been gouged as much by Dunbar as in the first meeting, as Allie talked about earlier, but mixing them in here and there. 6 rushes, 21 yards unofficially for Dunbar, and of course he had that 2-point conversion run as well, but mostly been content to hand it off, and easy to see why, because Bergman and Oriana have both been racking up the yardage.
Yeah, there was really only that one series, Jay, in this game where Dunbar kind of, took it upon himself to run the ball a little bit more.
Bergman, the handoff this time. Haywood in on the stop. He'll get another, not a great gain, but a decent gain of about 3.
They're perfectly fine with 3 and 4 yards at a clip. Keep that clock running, especially with a 21-zip lead. They're very, very cool with that.
Third down here for the Panthers. Handoff left side and sprawling forward. Let's see where they'll mark him. He's going to be close to the 1st down, and it looked like kind of stumbled on his own or over his own guy, or he could have gotten a little bit more even. Not going to quite be enough for the 1st down, so it'll be 4th and a yard.
Now they're changing it up a little bit. They're coming left-handed a little bit, running behind Lamon and Ward a little bit. And, boy, you just got to give a ton of credit to this O-line from Spring Lake Park. They are some major road graders, these guys.
4th and a yard, and let's see, did they draw Cooper again for the 3rd time? It looks like they did.
I think they got him again, Jay.
So they don't even need to run the play for the 1st down.
That's the easiest 5 yards you'll get.
Another look, clearly.
Yeah, way across.
Yep. So it will be 1st and goal now from just inside the 10 for Spring Lake Park. Ariana takes the handoff and keeps rolling down inside the 5. They'll spot him, it looks like just shy of the 4.
There's that leg drive again, Jay, that we talked about earlier in the game. You think you got him stopped and made a tackle on the guy, good form tackle on the guy, and then he skirts forward for another yard or 2.
2nd down, goal to go here for Spring Lake Park from about the 4-yard line. Handoff going to Ariana, and he's going to be in for the touchdown. Spring Lake Park able to finish the drive off. Another score.
I'm not sure he even got the snap very well that time, Jay. Instead of handing off with his top hand, I think he actually handed the ball off with his bottom hand, but he got it to the running back in time.
And looks like we have an injury for Cooper in the end zone there. Another look at it.
Yeah, there it was.
You see he was wrapped up from behind by Madison, but he just couldn't keep him from falling forward.
Yeah, quite the surge there.
So this one kind of developing exactly what Spring Lake Park would have liked. Not only in the first half, but they're coming out and doing it again in the second, as you see. Looks like injured for Cooper, Shondell Carter. So the extra point, they'll go back to kicking. They had one block, so they went for 2 the next time, got it back, and now they'll return to kicking as Sam Britz.
And the block came from more kind of in the middle of the line. The guys jumping, but they got it that time.
Gets the kick up and through, and so late in this third quarter, Spring Lake Park now leading it by a score of 28-0.
Yeah, if you're Spring Lake Park, and I'm with the kind of tradition and discipline that Coach Stewart's team has, if you're Spring Lake Park, this game is just evolving about as perfect as it can be. You know, for their style of offense, and not saying that the game's over yet, but boy, it's just tough. It especially when they reel off these 5- and 6-minute drives, doesn't leave you a lot of time, you know, on the clock to work with.
And you kind of had that feeling that last drive might have been kind of a must stop for Cooper. I mean, like you say, they're not out of it, certainly, but
right
to allow Spring Lake Park to finish that drive the way they did is going to be, you know, make the job that much tougher.
Yeah, and I was tempted to say that the first drive for Cooper was real crucial. Still a little bit early in the half, but you know, well, we'll see what they do.
And drive the kick deep again. Oh, and it's fumbled, but picked up by Borden, and he'll come skidding out over the 25. So they've done a good job containing Cooper on these kicks. That one was a little different as the ball was dropped, and Borden not able to, or Borden coming up with it, I should say, as the follow-up. But
yeah, I think he might have just taken his eye off and let it get to his pads, Jay, and Borden was alert and able to pick it up.
Cooper football on the 26. Struggled to get much going offensively here tonight. Last drive started out well, and there's a completion as he finds a Mosu. And that's a nice way to start that drive with about a 7-yard or maybe 8-yard gainer.
You notice Spring Lake Park trying to keep everything in front of them, though, Jay.
Throwing again, this one complete to Adams. Adams almost broke free entirely, but Blake Remy able to hold on. It will be a first down to the 41-yard line, though, of Spring Lake Park.
Really nice slant pattern. Adams did a good job and almost squirted free. Almost got free.
McMillan running this one. McMillan to the outside, and he is ridden down as Cooper getting that offense rolling now. That'll be a pickup of about 18 more.
Yeah, definitely more of a sense of urgency here by Cooper. You can definitely see it. They got some nice momentum going here. Little RPO and decided to keep it instead of giving it to Borden.
From the 23 of Spring Lake Park, first down and 10 here for the Hawks. McMillan, all kinds of time, throwing, and it is complete for the touchdown. Pedro Amusu getting Cooper on the scoreboard as they quickly answer that Spring Lake Park drive with their first points of the night.
Really pretty play and really, really fine pass protection, Jay. Deshaun just sat back there and spun it nicely into the end zone. Got a guy coming on late here for the extra point team.
Extra point is up, and it is good. And so with 2:04 to go here in the third quarter, Cooper answering the Spring Lake Park touchdown with one of their own. Trayshawn McMillan over the top here to Owusu. Actually pretty good coverage, but boy, he put it right on him.
Beautiful ball by Trayshawn. And as I said, you know, he can't do it all by himself. He had great I was watching the pass pro as that play unfolded. Just great pass protection by the O-line guys. Well, this is a little more like Cooper, huh? This is a little more like the Cooper that we know.
Well, and sometimes getting a touchdown with your offense can, you know, get the defense fired up too, and I'm sure that's what they're hoping.
Exactly. That transfers over. And as we said earlier, you know, no need to panic, especially when you have a high-powered offense like they do. And they just can't give up. They just can't give up anymore, or these 6-minute drives at Spring Lake Park. They're going to have to really limit those.
Do you consider onside kick here?
I don't think so. You might consider it, but I think it might be a little too early.
Martinez to kick off here for the Hawks, and he will indeed kick it high. Taken on about the 15-yard line, and Bergman stumbled down.
And you know what? It's a good thing for Cooper that he did stumble, Jay, because they had his left side over here pretty much washed down. If he doesn't stumble, the young man's going to go for quite a ways.
As it is, they'll start on their 26-yard line. 2:01 to go in the third quarter. Spring Lake Park dominated the first half, and then they came out and scored again to lead 28-0. But Cooper, marching down the field in a hurry, gets within 28-7, so a little momentum going, but now they need a stop.
Yep.
First down handoff, and a physical tackle there on Ariana as he is thrown down by Smith Shannon. However, it's not a bad gainer to start it out for the Panthers. They'll get about 5.
Yeah, there's that 4- and 5-yard gain again. And we'll see, Jay, as you said, a lot of times the defense can get a little bit of an infusion from the offense and see if they can get a stop, make these guys punt.
Dunbar will keep it himself, and he is driven back. He'll pick up about 3 or so, bring up a third down.
The one little change that I've seen from the last series, Jay, is they went from an even defense where they don't have the center covered to an odd defense. So they do have an extra guy. They get the guy right over the center, a nose guard right over the center. So we'll see if that can stop Spring Lake Park's onslaught here.
3rd and a couple. They've been able to draw Cooper offside 3 times tonight. See if they're going to try and do it again. Now they're going to run the play. Dunbar will run it himself, and he will pick up the first down. And that, you know, as much as anything, I think has been a key to tonight, where any time that they've, you know, been in a spot where they're a little bit backed up or a little bit in trouble, they seem to end up converting.
And I think what Dunbar saw there was Cooper was really, really clogging the middle, and so he calls his own number and just kind of does that quick little sprint out down the line and picks up a valuable first down.
Under a half minute to go in the quarter, and Cooper, they're calling for either equipment or injury timeout here. It looks like injury. And so they'll be asked to put a sub in here. Now they'll rewind the clock. So I'm not sure if the Panthers will need to run another play before the quarter ends. You'd think that play clock would restart if they stop the game for Cooper.
That's what I was thinking, Jay. I wasn't sure they had to run another play.
Dunbar, and he is met by Haywood and knocked back.
Yeah. Definitely took a good pop there.
That's going to do it for the third quarter, it looks like. So Cooper, signs of life late, but they still trail big here. We've reached the end of 3 here at Barbara A. Lehman Stadium. It is Spring Lake Park 28 and Cooper 7, the fourth quarter. Up next. 1 quarter of football to go here in the Section 5 5A championship. Cooper trailing at 28-7. Spring Lake Park with the football, and second down and about 7 for the Panthers. They have succeeded in chewing up a lot of clock with their ground game tonight, but not just chewing up clock and finishing drives. Obviously, they've had 4 nice touchdown drives. Dunbar keeping it on the option left. This one's going nowhere as he is thrown down hard by Malik Wilson.
Cooper doing a nice job that time of running to the football. They've done that a couple of times this evening, and that was crucial. Put Spring Lake Park in a spot that they haven't been accustomed to this evening. That's what, 3rd and long, huh, Jay?
Yeah, they've thrown the football only once, completed it to Bergman, the running back. That helped set up a touchdown in the first half. But yeah, 3rd down and 8 now for Spring Lake Park. They just have not had many plays where they've been stopped, either for a loss or even a really short gain like that last one. Here's the handoff. Ooh, and another solid hit delivered there. Ariana hit by
Haywood again.
By Haywood, yeah. Coming up, he's had a lot of nice plays tonight for Cooper.
Yes, he has.
They did gain about 4 to 5 yards on that play, but
we'll see what Spring Lake Park wants to do here.
They have not punted tonight.
No, they have not. You can almost guarantee they're going to try to draw Cooper off.
I think so.
And I would imagine that every coach on Cooper's sideline is reminding them of that.
Yeah, I don't think Dunbar has any intention of actually running a play here.
Doesn't seem like it.
No. And it was a delay of game against Spring Lake Park.
Yep. And they're going to punt it away.
Still 4th down.
We'll see if Cooper has. See if Cooper doesn't look like maybe punt block, but I'm not sure. Looks like maybe.
Evan Fedorovicius on to punt here for Spring Lake Park, and it's a good one. Oh, juggled a little bit by Amosu, trying to get out to the outside, and he'll be knocked out of bounds. Good coverage there after a very nice punt by Fedorovicius. They said they haven't really had to punt, a lot this year, and he showed a good leg on that one.
One thing I've been impressed with, we talked to Coach Stewart a little bit before the game. I've been very impressed. He focuses on fundamentals so much. Their kick coverage, their punt coverage has been. They've done a good job of because Cooper's got guys that can definitely get outside on you and do damage. And Spring Lake Park staying in their lanes and doing a good job.
So Cooper will have it on their 17-yard line. They scored last time. McMillan throwing it out, and a quick falling down there. Catch is good, but Mulba goes down immediately. Let's go down to LA.
Guys, a couple of weeks ago, something pretty cool happened for Cooper football. Their team was chosen by the NFL Alumni Association and Honda to shoot a commercial that's about to air nationwide. I asked Coach Howard why this team was chosen as the only high school team in the entire nation to be featured in the commercial, and he simply said these 3 things: sportsmanship, life skills, and experience. We can expect to see that commercial airing right around Thanksgiving time, guys.
Thanks very much, Allie, and boy, is that cool for not just this team, but just the whole school and the communities right around here and stuff. They've done a lot of good things in this program, and that's kind of helping to recognize that too. So congratulations to the Hawks. McMillan running that one. He'll pick up about 4, but we'll leave them with 3rd down and 6.
Yeah, definitely got to keep moving the chains here. We'll see. They're back to their. They're actually empty this time.
McMillan going to step up and throw it deep down the middle of the field, and it is complete to Wooten. Wooten making the grab into Spring Lake Park territory.
Boy, he just took one step and just kind of winged it, didn't he, Jay? I mean, yeah, and it was right on the money.
33-yard
nice
gain.
job. even kind of jumped as he threw it. Great job.
McMillan stepping up. He's going to run it, and he's got a lot of room out there on that right side, and he'll go out of bounds at about the 31. Give him another first down on that play. Spring Lake Park's got to be getting a little bit nervous now just at how the field seems like it's really opened up and spreading. You know, there's just more big plays available. Right. Cooper's really got a sense of urgency now.
Yeah, Cooper definitely has that offense that can really get chunk yardage, as they say, and they are doing it right now. They are getting it by the chunk.
McMillan, too, got out of bounds, which also is helpful on that play. Any little chance you can take to save time on the clock at this point certainly is good. 31-yard line now. First down and 10 for Cooper. Going to hand it off to Borden. Borden to the outside, shakes a tackle down on the sideline, and he'll be brought down around the 10 or so.
You know, at first, Jay, I wasn't sure that he was going to gain very much there, and then he just kind of slipped a tackle or two, and he was off to the races for a big positive gain, large positive gain.
But a 19-yard pickup. They'll spot it at the 12-yard line now. First down here for Cooper.
And they're going empty again, Jay, just to spread out that Spring Lake Park defense, and this could open up Trayshawn again, either passing or running.
McMillan is going to step up, but this time pretty well defended. Cooper's going to use a quick timeout. Kind of surprised so early that they're thinking that, but let's go down to Allie for an injury update.
Yeah, guys, when Cooper takes the field on defense, we're going to see possibly Shondell Carter, number 20, defensive back. He was the one who was hurt on that Spring Lake touchdown. He's been with the trainer ever since. His return doesn't look probable. I'm also watching number 22, Jarrell Smith-Shannon. He has ice on his left wrist. I'm not sure if he's going to make it back for defense as well, because he looks like he's in some considerable pain, guys.
Thank you, Ellie, and let's hope those guys are able to bounce back here. And I know they want to be out there for sure. So, short loss on that last play by McMillan. Pretty well defended there as Braden Johnson got off his block there for Spring Lake Park. It looked like that one, like he might have a little seam to get through there, but it closed in a hurry.
Right. I think they're going empty. Yeah, they especially in this drive, they like spreading out Spring Lake Park and going empty, and of course with Trayshawn's athleticism, puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
McMillan throwing and incomplete, and then a collision. I think it was two Spring Lake Park guys really that crashed into each other more so than Malba. And so third and long coming up here for the Hawks. Another look at the slant pattern. You see that one, yeah, it was actually a couple of Panthers that went down.
McMillan really zinged that one in there, Jay.
Big third down, but also could potentially be a big fourth down depending on how this one shakes out. McMillan's going to throw, and it is complete for the touchdown. Nice reaction to the ball there by Amusu, coming back to meet it as the defender couldn't see the ball. And that'll be second touchdown of the night for Cooper, and here come the Hawks.
Yeah, here they come. Real nice touch from McMillan that time. Have to see it on the replay, but looked like kind of a little bit more of a fade action, and put it right there. Nice touch.
Martinez's extra point kick is up and through. And so Cooper now to within a couple of touchdowns, 28-14.
Yeah, kind of a back shoulder throw right there, and real nice adjustment by the receiver. Beautiful play. Almost impossible for a DB to
So Cooper coming up off the deck here and at the very least putting some pressure on Spring Lake Park. There's still a lot of game to go. And they're now within 28-14. And, you know, it's interesting because you think, well, they're, you know, you're behind by the X amount of points, but that drive right there just showed how quickly it can happen.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Spring Lake Park actually stopped Cooper on a couple of those plays, but Cooper was able to prevail and grind it out. And, yeah, they can score in a hurry. No doubt about it.
You know, in a weird way, it sort of feels like sometimes you loosen up when you know that it's kind of like, well, we're this far behind by now. What do we got to lose? And start running some of those plays. It almost feels like they were, you know, less tense maybe than they had been.
Right. Spring Lake Park's lining up, Jay, like they're expecting maybe onside this time. I'm not sure they're going to get it, though.
No. Kick deep. And back to the 10. And he's just going to come take a knee.
Okay.
So not going to take any chances, Sean Lee. And, you know, that to me sends a little bit of a message of that we're just trying to cling to this lead a little bit, doesn't it?
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Playing it safe here.
I'm sure he was told to do that. You know, certainly. And and you obviously don't want to turn the ball over or anything like that. I get that part, but
right. And I also think with them hedging their bet on a possible onside.
Right. There wasn't a lot of blocking back there. You're right. Good point, Joe. So they'll have it at the 15-yard line, 1st and 10. Handoff going right side to Ariana, excuse me. He is popped after a gain of a couple, maybe 3.
Spring Lake Park going unbalanced that time and trying to, again, hit that outside hole there a little bit. Cooper definitely playing with a little more sense of urgency here and competitiveness, as Coach Howard talked about at coming into the second half.
Second and 7. And they'll get a few more as Ariana pushes it out over the 20-yard line to about the 22.
You know, it doesn't seem like sometimes that they're gaining a lot of yards, but they're sure in 3rd and 2 and 3rd and 3 a lot, aren't they?
I think part of that too is just with the alignment that they're at. As they're handing it off, the guy is, you know, basically at the line of scrimmage already. They're not going, you know, way deep out of the eye or something. And they're driven back as Ariana. Boy, it looked like at first that one might pop for a little bit, but instead he's going to be stopped short of the first down by about a yard.
Yeah, he was heading for it, and the defense closed on him and just stonewalled him, really, right there.
Boy, somewhere else on the field, you'd be kind of tempted to go for it, but this deep, I can't imagine that they would.
Yeah.
Another look, as you see, got a little surge initially, but then Cooper's just coming in with a lot more fire later in this game. There's no doubt. They're the aggressors tackling right now, whereas they hadn't. Looks like Spring Lake Park might let the clock run down and then maybe use a timeout, possibly.
Possibly. Although they just have to nudge it over the. They have less than a yard, I believe, Jay, huh?
Did end up calling the timeout, as I thought that it looked like Coach Stewart was, you know, kind of notifying the official that we want to take it down.
Sure. It's a good timeout. Talk it over.
See some other action in Class 5A. The winner of this game plays the Section 6 winner, Sauk Rapids Rice, apparently trailing Oak River 36-14 at this point. See Andover and Cambridge locked up in a pretty good one, as are Brainerd and Bemidji up north there. Owatonna, of course, defending champion there in a battle with Northfield. A lot of close games, it looks like. St. Thomas Academy taking it to Hastings. Chaska, who is obviously in Cooper's conference in other sports other than football, in the Metro West, leading Mankato West. That's a pretty good matchup, it looks like, too. So, again, the winner of this one will play either Sauk Rapids Rice or Elk River. It looks like Elk River has the lead. There's our new CCX Media winter hats we just got, too. They're nice, wearing that on the football. They are going to go for it, And Dunbar looks like he'll have the first down. Wow, is that a gutsy call?
It is gutsy.
On about your own 25, but you were right, they didn't need much.
No, they didn't. And they kept it in the quarterback's hands, so, that's a safe play from that regard. And I'm sure Cooper kind of looking for a sneak maybe, but he kind of slides off the right side again.
And Dunbar just blasting through as well as he could there, and Rashawn Keaton ran over just a little bit there. He didn't need much, didn't get much, but first down at the 27 now. Dunbar running option left, and he is wrapped up. They're trying to rip that football free, of course.
Right.
Be interesting to see if they really even trust trying to pitch the ball on any of these options late in the game. I think you might see Dunbar be pretty conservative on, like he was on that one, in terms of not, tossing that ball away.
And as you said earlier, we haven't really seen the classic option pitch much. It's been more, more handoff or keep kinds of plays. They haven't been pitching it. This probably wouldn't be the time to start.
Madison with the stop there as he's able to stack up Ariano after a short pickup there.
I'm also a little bit surprised that since they're trying to eat clock, obviously, that they're not keeping an eye on the back judge, and when he starts his 5-second count, they could probably run even a little bit more clock than they're running.
Yeah, that is one thing I think about high school ball that makes it a little bit harder when you don't have an actual clock you can look at. I think you get a little nervous trying to watch that official start his count. I think it would be a lot easier. I don't know that that's very likely to happen, but if we got a play clock on the field. Dunbar with the keeper, and he is going to have enough for another first down. Boy, that's big.
And that time he did wait for the back judge to start his count, Jay. And I think when he was he hit about 2 seconds, he took the snap.
So football now at the 38-yard line. You get another look as they get a pretty good kick-out block there, and you see Dunbar fighting for what he could get and then getting down.
And you can see the shift in the offensive thinking for Spring Lake Park. They're keeping it in Dunbar's hands at this point, Jay. This is where it's tough for Cooper. They're gonna have to do some raking and stripping.
Handoff this time. And spinning his way down is Bergman, and Cooper takes a quick timeout. I believe that's their second of the half.
If Cooper can find a way to get this football and not allow, again, one of their patented drives, there's still plenty of time left, Jay, for them to get this thing probably at least tied up.
But each first down that they've gotten kind of makes it a little bit more challenging, tougher challenge to have time.
It does. And as I said, I don't think it's any coincidence that Dunbar's starting to handle the ball a lot more. Of course, all their backs have shown that they're pretty sure-handed.
That's another, kind of overlooked part of running an offense like this too, is if, you can't have penalties and you can't have fumbles and expect to continue drives. They got to have a lot of discipline to run these plays like this, and you got to think that they work on ball security an awful lot as well. And apparently they did have a little bit of trouble with that the first time they played Cooper. Gave it up a couple of times.
Well, Cooper's still sticking with that odd front, which they've had some success with the second half.
2nd and 6. Oh, my goodness, what a hit. Haywood lowering the boom. That one was impressive enough that the back even patted him on the helmet and said that was pretty good, even though he took it.
Hayward is really bringing the lumber tonight, isn't he? I mean, he is really sticking people. Yeah.
A 3rd and a short 3 as you get another look. Wow, he drives him back and watch the little pat on the helmet. That was real. That was a hit.
And it was a beautiful form tackle too.
3rd and a short 3. Dunbar will keep it, and it looks like he'll have enough for another first down for the Panthers.
Got it again, Jay. Yep. Yeah, they're just all about moving the chains and keeping that clock going. This can be torturous for a defense.
So another fresh set of downs to work with and some more time to chew up here. From the 49 now of Spring Lake Park, it's going to be Dunbar keeping it again. He is wrapped up, pushed back after a gain of about 2 as he just got into Cooper territory. Another timeout taken by Cooper here. And at this point, you might as well. I mean, you got to use them as quick as you can.
Exactly. And it's not, and at this point also, it's not so much, although that's an important, for first down, that's important to hold them to 2 yards. It's not so much about the yardage as it is the time and the ability for Cooper to get their hands on the ball again. We're showing 1 timeout, Jay, for Cooper.
Yeah, I think I was wrong about thinking that they had used one earlier. That
okay.
I think because they've obviously used 2 recently here.
Right.
But I think there was an earlier one that I thought was a timeout that they, took an official time for that injury when the player came off. Remember a little bit earlier. So it'll be 2nd down and 8 coming up here for Spring Lake Park. Just under, 1 tick under 3 minutes to go in the ball game. Panthers leading it 28-14. Cooper massively needing a stop, or even better yet, a turnover. Dunbar will run it, and he is tripped up.
Yeah.
Maybe a yard.
This is probably as good a spot as Cooper's put them in since I think they had him 3rd and 8, Jay, a little earlier in this drive, and they were able to wriggle free. But
for the Panthers here, it's more about protecting the ball. I mean, yeah, you want to get the first down, obviously, but trying to make sure that they keep the football here, and I would guess they probably would even go for it again on 4th down, maybe, and we'll see.
He started his count again.
Dunbar spinning left and trying to crawl forward. He's going to be short of the first down by about a yard or so. Another look as he cuts it upfield just inside the tackle attempt there.
As he got bumped, he picked up another 3 yards, I think.
Looks like we got injury for Cooper for sure. Maybe one for Spring Lake Park also.
We'll get somebody.
Yeah, Ariana is feeling that cramp. It looks like maybe the back of his calf, and it might be the same for Cooper.
Yeah, they're expending a lot of energy out there.
Yeah, cramps certainly more often in hot weather, but it doesn't mean it can't happen on a night like tonight too.
Well, and sometimes it's surprising. I've been fortunate to coach teams that have been in prep bowls, Jay. And you think, okay, we're inside, we're in good shape. Sometimes those dry climates, even like indoor, you can't believe. Sometimes you cramp up. I've seen teams cramp up even more on indoor games like that, which you wouldn't think, but it happens.
Osseo making his way slowly to the sideline here for Cooper. So it's going to be 4th down and a yard here for Spring Lake Park, and you'd have to say getting the first down would come pretty darn close to sealing it up for them, but if Cooper gets a stop, then still got a ball game.
Yep. Last time I think Dunbar kept it over the right side, I believe. We'll see what they do this time, Jay.
And he will keep it, and he will squeeze through and pick up the first down with ease.
He is elusive sometimes, as he did on that touchdown when no one touched him. he just squirts out of the pile there. Boy, that's a big first down right there. My goodness.
At the 39-yard line, as we'll go under a minute 40 to go now in this game. And they may be just a kneel-down spot here. I think we were right the first time. Cooper did. That was the last time out, it looks like.
Yeah, there's a victory formation, Jay.
So a kneel down here for Dunbar.
And they'll just need to be ready and watch that back judge again.
So different circumstances, but season going to end in a section final for the second year in a row here for Cooper. As Dunbar will kneel again here, and they might need one more at the most, and Spring Lake Park's going to be advancing to their 8th state tournament appearance. Boy, you said it earlier, Joe. They came out and really pretty much executed exactly the way they wanted to. You know, particularly early in this ball game. You get a long drive, and then I thought their defense played great in the first half especially.
Yeah, they did. And the fact that they limited Cooper to not very many plays, as Coach Howard pointed out. And now they're section champs.
So a strong season here for Cooper, but it's going to end a little short of what they were looking for here. And congratulations, obviously, to Spring Lake Park. They came out here and played a heck of a football game tonight.
They did. And you know what? I'm looking. I think you got to give a lot of credit again to a group that doesn't get a lot of credit, and that's Lamon, Ward, Britz, Amundsen, Horn, and Toner. Jay. They did a heck of a job up front of, they put Spring Lake Park in a lot of 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 3, and, really did some road grading out there tonight.
Another outstanding season for Cooper. And, boy, they got it going in the second half. And, obviously it's the thing you look at and think, gosh, if they had just played that way the whole game long. But that's part of football. I mean, they were trying, but Spring Lake Park did a nice job too.
Yeah. And, when you are playing a team like Spring Lake Park, as we talked about a little bit in the pregame and everything, most of the time, if they're going even halfway good, you're only going to have so many opportunities.
So the season will come to an end tonight for Cooper. Another a really big year, but again, the Panthers will prevail and move on to the state playoffs in 5A, where they will play next week, as we saw over in Egan at the new Vikings facility against, it looks like, maybe Elk River. So we hope you've enjoyed tonight's telecast here tonight. For Joe Basil, Ali Arlt, and all of our crew, I'm Jay Wilcox. Again, your final score on this one is Spring Lake Park 28, Cooper 14.